Fireworks 3. This time we're going to do a slightly more complicated arrangement. Use a couple new tools. I want you to copy this as closely as you can and submit it to get full credit. Instead of using a rectangle today, I want to use the ellipse tool, which really is a circle. It's going to be a perfect circle if you click the Shift key, hold it down while you drag. That makes a circle every time. Okay, now this is a terrible color. I want to choose something different and I want a gradient. So let's change the gradient first. Go down to gradient, and just linear means it comes from one direction. And if you change the colors, you click over here on color. It shows you this is the one end and this is the other end. You can see the color there. On this end, I want to change it to this yellow on the side, FFO, and no, I want the yellow over here on the top. On the bottom, this red. And I want the yellow to come down a little bit, so I'll drag this and it'll go a little farther. Yeah, take it to about midway. That's done, just click away. Oh, what have I forgotten? I need to save. Should have saved immediately. File, save, or Command S. I'm going to call it Fireworks3. And normally it's going to try to save it in your pictures folder. That's wrong. If you want to, you can just simply go down to your home directory. It'll have your number here. Select that, Documents, and Fireworks. That's where you need to put your Fireworks files. Okay, so I got that gradient. I want to drop shadow with this. Choosing the selection tool, this just tells me the line that it's coming from, the gradient. And I'm going to choose shadow and glow, drop shadow. Only this drop shadow should be blue, so I click on the lead there and pick this dark blue right here. We're using the simple colors today. And we'll make it 20. So it's going to be a nice long shadow. That doesn't look very long, does it? Oh, it didn't stay. Let's change that to 20, hit enter. There's a long shadow. But the light is coming from this direction, that's the bright side, and the shadow's going this way. So I'm going to change the shadow, change the angle right here. This controls the angle. Click it. And you grab this little handle and it changes the direction that the shadow goes, which should always be opposite of the light. So I'm going to put the shadow straight down on the bottom so it looks like the light is coming from the top. Get that as straight as you can. Okay, now I want to do a little trick here and make it look like it's fading away. So the background is white. I want to change that to this same yellow. I forgot to do that when I made the new file. Here's how you can get to it. Right at the very top is Web Layer. If you click on that in your selection tool, the Properties window changes, and here's your canvas again, the very background. I'm going to change that to the same yellow. And now this looks like the top half is disappearing into the light. Okay, time to make one more circle. I'm going to choose the ellipse tool again. Hold down the Shift key and drag. Make it fairly big. It picked up the same gradient and the same colors, and that's cool, but I want this to be a different gradient. So I'm going to select gradient, and yeah, cone's too pointy. I don't like that. Ellipse. That's what this is. Yeah, that gives you a nice center on there. This one also needs a shadow. You may notice on this one I didn't have to switch tools. It lets me do the shadow. That's cool. Let's make the shadow blue. And make it kind of long, but not as long. Let's say 14. And move this shadow straight down. Now you might want to stop this video at this point and do this first part and then come back. We're going to put some text on top of it. For right now, I'm going to save. Come back to this video if you need more directions. Okay, now I want some text in here. The first thing we need to do is select the text box. And the first thing I want you to put in here is Fireworks 3. and make a text box for your name. Of course, you'll use your name. And make a text box for the period. Just label period, hit return, you get a next line, and 3. And I want this one to be centered. This text box should definitely be centered. Okay, move it over, and it needs to be right inside of this circle here. So we're going to have to choose a smaller font. That's pretty good. It needs to fit all the way inside. And I want the letters to be, the text to be black. Really high contrast. Then the name, I want to be dark blue and just above this line where the first sphere disappears. So I've got it right there. That's a good size. You pick the size that works for your name. And then Fireworks3 needs to be bright red. Make it pretty large. Make it larger than the others. That's it. We need 3 sets of type. Type. Fireworks3, your name, and your period. We need the bigger sphere with a shadow and the smaller sphere with a shadow and the yellow background. I know that's a lot of steps. Take it one at a time. This is certainly something you can do.